the radiation detectors, this is from Bloomberg News, just out, radiation detectors at Dallas, Fort Worth, and Chicago O'Hare airports were triggered today when passengers from flights that started in Tokyo passed through customs, according to the New York Post. Tests at Dallas, Fort Worth indicated low radiation levels in travelers' luggage and in the aircraft's filtration, the cabin filtration systems. So Paul Gunter is with us. Paul is the director of reactor oversight at Beyond Nuclear. BeyondNuclear.org is the website. Paul, welcome back to the program.
Hey, thank you for having me back on.
So the flights from Tokyo are showing up with people who are carrying particles, presumably, of radioactive material, radioactive dust or particles even finer than dust, on them. That indicates what to you?
Well, I think the first indication is, we've seen this kind of thing before where like in the event of where nuclear workers working in nuclear power plants, they come out and they sleep in motels, or and then they find radioactive particulate in some of these motels. I mean, I've seen that happen before, where contamination from workers has done this. But to hear that people are coming out of Japan, that doesn't surprise me, with radioactive contamination.
Now, what about the cloud that's heading this way from, just the prevailing winds?
These are going to be of increasing concern as the nuclear accident continues to spiral out of control. We're particularly concerned about that Unit 3. It's a plutonium oxide reactor, which is just chock full of plutonium.
Plutonium being the deadliest substance on Earth and one of the most powerful radiation emitters.
At a micron level.
Mm-hmm. In other words, a particle so small that it could easily fit through any kind of air filtration device, or...
Yes, that micron levels.
We're talking the size of a virus, basically.
Yeah, and the Unit 3 has tons of plutonium oxide fuel. They like to call it mixed oxide, right, or MOX, but in fact, it's plutonium oxide, or POX.
Right. It's mixed with plutonium. It's uranium oxides and other oxides and plutonium oxide.
Yeah, and then packed in zirconium tubing. Zirconium being, if they powder it, they put a speck in your flash bulb, and when it's zirconium that goes off in flash bulbs. It's also used in high explosives, and we have plutonium oxide fuel packed in zirconium. Tons and hundreds of tons of this in Unit 3.
Now, is Unit 3 the only MOX reactor, the only plutonium-based reactor? Are all the rest of them just old-fashioned uranium reactors?
They are. Those other 5 units are the enriched uranium facilities. Plutonium oxide also has a lower melting temperature. But, again, this is just an incredibly unprecedented toxic soup that's boiling.
Was there at Chernobyl? Was that MOX, or was that just normal uranium?
That was enriched uranium, but of course, as you fission uranium, it does generate plutonium as
in smaller
one of the byproducts.
Amounts.
Yeah,
right.
But in smaller. I mean, I'm talking tremendous amounts of plutonium in this, where they're now fissioning plutonium and uranium as part of the fuel. Right. Not a byproduct.
Right. And so there's intentionally high levels of plutonium. They've refined out the plutonium, presumably from recycled nuclear waste, and
weapons.
From weapons. Oh, okay. And then put that into the reactor, and that reactor number 3 is the one that everybody's freaked out about because of that. And does reactor 3 also have a radioactive waste pool on the top of it like the others do?
Yes. And
is that pool full of plutonium as well?
Yes.
Oh, my.
And it's outside of containment. And there's a big, right now, this is where you're seeing pictures of the helicopters flying over trying to drop water, and the water is dissipated. But,
right.
They're not getting anything on these reactors. It's getting desperate. These are all last-ditch measures right now, but we're still holding out hope.
Yeah, Dr. John, I think I mentioned this to you once before. Back in the 70s, I corresponded at length with Dr. John Goffman, who at that time was one of the experts with the Union of Concerned Scientists. I think he might have been one of the guys who helped start it. And he wrote a huge tome book on the impact of radiation on humans. He was like the world's leading expert on it.
Poison to power.
Yeah, exactly. And what he said to me was that 1 ounce of plutonium, if it was properly distributed, which would be damn near impossible, but if you could, truly disperse it into the atmosphere, it could kill everybody. I mean, all humans. It just takes 1 or 2 particles in your lungs of plutonium, and it's such a powerful emitter of what is it? Alpha, gamma, beta. I mix up my.
It's alpha.
It's an alpha emitter.
Alpha gamma.
Yeah.
So the concern is about inhalation dose, and it is a very, very toxic.
It's the most toxic substance on Earth, isn't it?
Yes, and it has a 24,000-year half-life, and we figure 10 half-lives as the measure for toxicity of this stuff. So we're talking 240,000 years
before it would be relatively safe to get near it.
Before it lowers down, and again, this is the measure that we have on the current state of the art of physics, but
right.
It's very toxic for a very long.
And to put that in perspective, 240,000 years, it was only 165,000 years ago that the first humans emerged in Africa. I mean, that's how long our species has been around.
This has gone beyond comprehension at this point.
Yeah. So what's going to happen next, in your opinion, Paul Gunter?
We're quite concerned about the fact that units 4, 5, and 6 are the next shoes that we're watching to drop. The information is contradicting. We have the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission Chair Gregory Yasko in congressional testimony yesterday saying there's no longer any water in the upper rooftop spent fuel pool that contains hundreds of tons of
nuclear
radioactive
waste.
Fuel. Yeah, well, actually, they were going to put that fuel when they began the maintenance of 4, 5, and 6. They took all of the radioactive cores out of the reactors. They transfer them into those rooftop pools to await the finishing of maintenance. And then they would bring up 2/3 of that fuel and put it back in the reactor. So the 4, 5, and 6 were under maintenance with full core offloads when the earthquake hit, and now we have a full core of fuel sitting outside of containment on the roof of a reactor, and there's no water to cool it anymore.
Wow. And the last hope, Paul, is that they can bring electricity in. Do you think that? We just have 5-10 seconds.
We're astounded that it's taken 8 days there to run transmission. So we don't really understand why it's taken so long. But it may be too late to get electricity to a molten core.
I think it may well be.